This ancient horror story was never supposed to be discovered by modern man. It was found written in a tomb in northern Pakistan. The tomb was that of an unknown person from 500 BC, possibly a member of the royal court. Buried with them were many valuable artifacts, including several golden bowls, but one artifact in particular stood out. Carved into this bowl was a horrifying scene. It depicted a demon with a gored head, sharp teeth and claws, and fiery eyes. The demon is shown devouring a human, ripping off their limbs and consuming them one by one. Another demon is shown trying to eat a horse. And in the center of it all is a third demon with a human head in its hands. It's tearing the head apart, piece by piece. This demon is clearly the leader, and if you look closely, you can see that it has a crown on its head. The bowl itself is significant. In Hindu culture, eating from a golden bowl was reserved for important religious ceremonies and rituals. But this particular carving goes beyond anything religious. It shows a ritual, but not one that was sacred. It was one that was meant to bring destruction. And the craftsmanship of the bowl tells us that this would have been an expensive commission. Whoever this person was, they clearly had a lot of money. They were also clearly terrified of something or someone. But who is this terrifying demon king? His name is mentioned in ancient texts, like the Rig Veda and the Mahabharata. He is a cruel and merciless lord of the underworld. His father was a king who ruled over the ancient Persians. His mother was a demon. So Yama was half human and half demon. Some say that he was born with the sole purpose of destroying humanity. He rules over a place called Naraka, which isn't quite hell, but it's close. Those who enter Naraka are said to be trapped there forever. Even the gods fear going there. When someone died, Yama would personally collect their soul. If they'd led a good life, he would allow them to be but if they'd led a bad life, they would be taken in Naraka and tortured for eternity. Now, let's get back to that carving. What exactly does it mean? Well, we don't know for sure, but we can make some educated guesses. First of all, why would Yama be carved onto a bowl used for religious ceremonies? Normally, you wouldn't want to invite evil spirits into your home. But this bowl wasn't used for inviting Yama, it was used to banish him. The golden bowl was probably filled with holy water and then placed in the center of a fire. The flames would reflect in the bowl and scare away any evil spirits that might be lurking around. These demons may have even been a type of spirit. By destroying them, they would be destroyed. Why did this person need such a powerful ritual? Maybe they were being haunted by spirits. Maybe they feared a curse. Or maybe they were simply afraid of death. For whatever reason, they called upon the most terrifying god in the universe to protect them. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The spirits won, and the man died. His tomb was discovered over 2,500 years later, and we still don't know his name. But we do know that he was once a very real person who was desperately trying to save himself from the supernatural world. Now, here's some trivia for you. Did you know that ancient Rome was 8 times more densely populated than modern New York? Click here to learn more, or click here to watch this video instead. It's easy to think of ancient Rome as a place of debauchery, political intrigue, and gladiators. But what about horror? The city was 8 centuries old and home to nearly 1 million people, so it's no surprise that scary things happen there all the time. Hello everyone, I'm your host, and today we bring you another installment in our series of scary stories from history. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more tales of terror from throughout the ages. Our story begins with a man named Lucius, a Roman senator and former governor of the province of Asia Minor. Lucius was well off, but he had a bit of a hobby that didn't reflect well on his supposed piety. He collected human bones and stored them in his house. This wasn't exactly taboo in Roman culture. After all, Roman emperors kept mummies of their favorite pets and occasionally dug up family members from their tombs for a little late-night fun. Still, this kind of behavior was normally restricted to the upper classes, and Lucius was a bone collector of a particularly disturbing sort. One day, while visiting an outdoor market, Lucius came across a group of Jewish elders who had brought some relics to the city for display. Among these relics were a number of bones which the Jews claimed were the remains of an ancient prophet named Elisha. According to legend, Elisha had been a contemporary of Jesus and was known for performing miracles, including raising children from the dead. To prove their authenticity, the elders allowed the Romans to perform tests on the bones, which supposedly showed that they were human and very old. Hearing this, Lucius thought he could make quite the addition to his collection, but the elders refused to sell him the bones. So he did something drastic. That night, he left his house, crept into the courtyard where the Jewish elders were staying, and dug up their sacred relics. Then he took the bones to his house and locked them in a bronze chest. The next morning, the elders noticed that the bones were missing and accused Lucius of stealing them. He responded by denying the theft and mocking their beliefs. But later that night, he began having second thoughts. Maybe stealing someone else's property wasn't such a hot idea, especially when it belonged to a group of people who could call upon God for help. As he lay in bed, Lucius started to hear strange noises coming from the corner of his room where he kept the chest. At first it sounded like footsteps, then like voices whispering his name. Eventually, the commotion grew louder and more insistent, until finally, the bronze chest flew open, and out stepped Elisha, or at least what appeared to be Elisha. He looked as if he had just stepped out of a tomb, complete with rotting flesh and dripping blood. And that's when the horror really began. The ghastly figure approached Lucius and began to beat him with his staff, yelling, "You filthy animal! How dare you violate my sanctity?" Then he dragged Lucius from the bed and continued to thrash him as the ghost's followers joined in, each yelling, "Death to the robber! Death to the infidel!" As dawn approached, Elisha stopped beating Lucius and floated up to the ceiling, surrounded by his disciples. They taunted the dying senator, promising that his soul would join them soon enough. Then they vanished. In the morning, Lucius' servants found their master dead in his bed with wounds that looked as if they had been inflicted with a stick, or perhaps the finger bones he so carelessly stole. Afterward, the bones were returned to the Jewish elders, who buried them in secret. As for Lucius, his death was ruled an accident, though many suspected foul play. The whole affair made quite the impression on the people of Rome, and for a while, no one dared touch any bones that didn't belong to them. And that's our story. Did you know that skeletal remains have been found at the bottom of many ancient Roman statues? We'll tell you all about it next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other videos, which are just a click away. See you next time. Japan has had a few viral horror stories that have spread through the country like wildfire, from bloody statues to haunted hospitals. Here are some of the scariest legends from Japan. First, we have to look at the Kuchisekana. The Kuchisekana is one of the most famous urban legends in modern Japanese horror. This is the story of a woman who was so obsessed with her looks that she cut the mouth of her son when he was sleeping, and then stitched it open so wide that it stretched from ear to ear. She did this because she thought that he was ugly. After killing her son, she took her own life. But before she died, she vowed to find other children with ugly faces and do the same thing to them. It's said that she still walks the earth looking for kids with ugly faces to mutilate. If you hear someone asking you, "Do I look ugly?" while you're walking home late at night, then don't answer, because if you do, they will attack you and cut your mouth open. Moving on, we have to look at the legend of Hanako-san. Hanako-san is a ghost said to inhabit school bathrooms in Japan. Like most urban legends, the story goes that she was a young girl who died in the bathroom. The exact nature of her death varies depending on the teller, but usually involves either a tragic accident or murder. There are many variations of the Hanako-san legend, but usually she appears as a young girl wearing a Japanese school uniform. Some versions of the story say that she has long black hair covering her face, while others say that she has no face at all. It's said that if you knock 3 times on the bathroom door and then ask, "Are you there, Hanako-san?" she will appear and drag whoever dared disturb her into the bathroom, never to be seen again. Now, let's look at the Tick-Tick woman. One day, a young woman was riding the train home from a hard day's work. That's when she saw a very strange woman standing at the end of the train. The woman seemed to be beckoning her over. So the young woman went to the end of the train to see what she wanted. When she got closer, she saw that the woman had no arms. Then the armless woman began to crawl closer and closer on the floor. The woman screamed and ran away, but the horrifying image of the crawling woman stuck with her forever. It's said that if you see this woman on the train, then you should cover your eyes with the palms of your hands and wait until the train stops. If you see her again after you've covered your eyes, then you'll be safe. However, if you peek under your fingers, then she'll crawl up your body and pull you down into the tracks. Finally, we have to look at the legend of the Mitsune Man. In 1946, a wooden statue of a man was found in a temple in Tokyo. At first, no one really paid any attention to the statue. However, soon people started to notice that the statue was moving. People reported seeing the statue move on its own, and even interacting with people. The statue would also sometimes disappear and then reappear in a different part of the temple. Many believe that the statue is haunted by the spirit of a man named Mitsune. The legend goes that Mitsune was an apprentice sculptor who carved the statue of the man in the temple. However, when his master saw the statue, he ripped off Mitsune's head. Now, it's said that the head of the statue is haunted by the ghost of Mitsune, and those who interact with it will have bad luck. Follow them for the next 7 years. But now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Comment below, which of these Japanese horror stories was the most terrifying? If you want to see more short videos, then check out more content. But as always, thanks for watching. There are some more videos you might like on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And if you haven't already, then what are you waiting for? Subscribe for more content.